What's up, everybody? We got Chris and Leo here, fans of two of the biggest movers this offseason. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on each one. Leo just changed shirts for us. Who knows if he'll change multiple times like Maryland, but that's part of it. Yes, that's the fun of it. So,
All right.
a little agenda. But before we get into it, how you doing? How's quarantine, knees, surgeries, crazy shit?
Quarantine, chilling.
Leo, is
Good
that your
time.
house?
Yeah, this is my house.
That's nice.
Dog room, musical room. We'll be going in here a little bit later on in the show because my phone will die inevitably. So, you know where to find me.
Dude, that's dope.
Both of you.
Chris, how about a tour of your place?
You want a tour? It's not much going on. This is the living room.
That's it. Yeah.
Where I'm hanging out here.
Like my place.
Kitchen. Little room off the kitchen. Get back around over here.
I want to make sure everybody notices he's moving very well. If you didn't know, Chris just had knee surgery and stuck in the hospital for a couple days. So posy vibes that he's out and he's walking around without a limp, it looks like.
A little bit of
the knee surgery club.
getting there.
Yeah.
We're all part of the knee surgery club in this podcast here.
I was going to say, Leo, me, you, Geltz, for sure. Yeah. Like twice, I think. Maybe even 3 times.
Yeah, it might have been 3.
Yeah. Maybe, is that it? No one else has had serious knee surgery?
Ooh, I think that's it.
I think of.
Corbin's got bad knees from blowjobs in a past life, but other than that, I think it's just par for the course.
Yep.
So let's get into the podcast. Let's get into the nitty-gritty stuff. First, I want to make sure everybody knows I did make changes over the last 72 hours. I added a defensive line position. I also increased some point totals in terms of sacks. So make sure you look over that. There will be that addition to this year's roster, which did come with an increase on the bench as well. I have not increased IR, which is still up for discussion because we are going to be increasing keepers by 2. Just a subtle reminder. Just pointing out that there was a change made. So check it out. Make sure that everything is kind of kosher for you and you know strategy going in. Also, I want to make sure you all know that the poll is no longer active. So we got 4 votes for no and 2 votes for yes, meaning that playoffs will be in contention for the Phallic Feaster. You will have to be setting a lineup throughout the playoffs to avoid the Phallic Feaster title and consequence. So thanks for voting, all 6 of you. Somebody obviously.
The Maryland rule.
Yeah, the Maryland rule was declined. So we'll be putting a new poll up once we figure out the next change that we are suggested. But without further ado, which is probably why most of you are watching this show, I'll get into the Pats rant that Chris has been saving for about a month for us. So Chris, the floor is yours.
Where to begin? It's definitely been a crazy offseason in Patriots land. We never thought that our fearless leader was going to leave us and also drag, arguably the best tight end of all time out of retirement and bring him down to Tampa. It's been a lot. And what Bill Belichick has planned, because he definitely has a plan up his sleeve. Whether it's Jarrett Stidham or not, who knows? But I'm hoping we make some more moves at this point. We drafted pretty much all New England drafts every time, but obviously picking up 2 tight ends was good.
So what are your overall thoughts on Tom Brady? I want to know what you think of Tom Brady.
Is that what we're going to right now? This is what you want. What you want me to say? Well, I still have an appreciation for Tom Brady, for sure. And I mean, I want to root for him, but I'm a Patriots fan. So at this point, if the Patriots are playing, Tampa Bay, then I'm gonna have to root against him. And at that point, he's gonna be my enemy. So I mean, he made his choice.
So what happens if the Bucks win the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, if there was no shot at the Patriots getting there, if for some reason
And I'm gonna be a happy man. Let's go Bucks. Let's go Tom.
Potentially, yes, but if the Patriots are in contention, then at that point, no, I'm gonna have to. I'm not gonna enjoy that.
I mean, there are rumors out there that Edelman's going to the Bucks as well.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Rumors are rumors. Who knows if they're true?
Yeah, well, rumors became reality for our good friend Leo here, and I think it's a good transition to hear his thoughts on Houston, because I don't know what the whole city's thinking with the COVID stuff. One, I know that there were like fines for going out without a mask as of late. At least my friend that lives in the Woodlands was talking about. And then they trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, and it doesn't even matter what else. It just seems like there's a little bit of chaos right now in Houston.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. You traded DeAndre Hopkins. You done messed up, Bill O'Brien. And how do you go and do that? How do you let your star receiver and the quarterback receiver do it with the best chemistry in the league leave your team? How are you going to win a championship with old knees, old guys? Nah.
I mean, you were a game away.
Messed up, Houston. You messed up.
Literally one game away from the Super Bowl.
Spurrier is incredibly pissed about it. Incredibly pissed.
I'm gonna try.
Tell him, boy.
They need to make.
It's okay. No,
That's awesome.
I think Bill O'Brien finally signed his death warrant, and he's got to perform. So it could be good news. Could be good news for the city of Houston. We all have to come out of the dark times. Talking on COVID, we're starting to return. You just got to wear a mask. It's got to be an appropriate mask. So, cover up, stay away from others.
My immediate thought:
be sensible.
Appropriate mask, or masks that don't have obscene gestures or language on them. So
yeah, man, I wore my Captain America mask to work the first day, but it didn't have a mouth cover. So I got confused.
That's amazing.
But,
like actual masks.
Ross was good, provided us some masks. So, we appreciate the efforts that they put forth to keep us safe. Yeah.
So both teams are a little bit in chaos. Let's talk about your fantasy teams to shift gears. Let's start with you, Chris. What are you looking at going into your team? Right? How comfortable do you feel at your positions? Because just in case anyone forgot, we're keeping 8 this year, and there is a restriction. You can keep 3 and 3 running backs and wide receivers, or you can keep 4 and 2 on either position. So, are you feeling comfortable with your squad going into?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I mean, it's a stretch to say that I have, 8 people on my team that I want to keep. But either way, I still have some options, and I, potentially might make a move to make a trade in the off season. Something I rarely do, if ever.
Yeah. Well, you traded last year.
I don't remember that, but I mean, it might have been maybe. I don't know. It's just a rare occurrence. I mean, in the years that we've been playing, I'm not really on the ball in the off season.
No, yeah, you do kind of shut the phone down on the off season.
At one year, I actually deleted it off my phone.
Damn, dog, you're like Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
What about you, Leo? How you feeling?
Man, who am I going to keep? We got 6 receivers.
Yeah, you have a lot of young receivers.
Yeah, I've got a sophomore class that's huge, and it makes it difficult. And I've got DeAndre Hopkins, who is no longer in Houston. and he's no longer with Deshaun Watson. So that makes me sad as a fantasy owner. Makes me sad. Makes my team sad. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
What'd you say,
But
Chris?
it creates opportunity.
I said, you looking to get rid of him, Leo?
I didn't say that, but you're putting words in my mouth, Chris. Okay.
Chris, looking at your team now. So, how do you feel about Le'Veon Bell? Let's ask that. Let's ask the question. Le'Veon Bell. So the Jets just signed Frank Gore. Le'Veon Bell's now got somewhat of an offensive line in front of him, but that running back attack works, and he's getting a little old. What would you say to that?
I would say at this point, Seth, I have no choice. I have to keep him. That's pretty much it. I plead the fifth.
You also have Chris Carson, which
I have Chris Carson. Chris Carson, well,
and then you have James White, which I don't know how you feel about.
definitely keeping James White.
Yeah.
He's been consistent over the years. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, struggling a little bit in both my running backs and receiving core for sure. Two key components that I need to be successful in this league.
You do have Devontae Parker and Devonta Adams. Now, you got rid of Stephon Diggs last year.
I
But,
did.
yeah.
What if your Pats get your boy Aaron up there? It'll be sad in fantasy, but happy in real life.
Yeah,
If
man, fucking stoked.
Yep. Probably not going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Leo's staring down, like you said, a class of sophomore wide receivers that include DK Metcalf, DJ Chark, AJ Brown. Who else do you have? Deebo Samuel.
I got Debo,
Calvin
AJ,
Ridley.
Calvin. Yeah, he's my only third-year guy. So got a lot of young guns. So the table's wide open for trades there. I think there's a lot of high caliber keepers. Expanded to two in coming years. There's definitely a lot of opportunity in the bench right now.
Yeah.
I wish I could keep more this year.
Yeah, that's how Dylan felt a couple years back when he had Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Le'Veon Bell, and something else.
Right.
Only keep two of them. That was a fun one.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think now is the time for trades too, because it seems that most of the offseason stuff is kind of calmed down. You got a clear picture of what could be or what should be, depending on a normal NFL season. So most outlooks have been decided. There's always a little bit of crazy offseason stuff late, but of course, I think that we could at least project some things. One thing I did want to ask specifically is there any changes to the league that either of y'all would like to see implemented or just have thought about? I know Leo's talked about punters, but we can open that discussion if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I think just adding a few more players would be great. A few more defensive players might be a good.
Right now, we currently
defense is fun.
A defensive line. We will
You
have
added a defensive line position this year, right?
Yeah, so we'll have a defensive line, we'll have a line, we'll have a defensive back. So I mean, we could talk about expanding to either like defensive line and edge rusher, or maybe split defensive back into safety and cornerback. That gets a little bit dicey. But I mean, I'd look to add another edge rusher, or maybe add two linebackers, or maybe even a defensive flex. We want to just put a flex in there and you can put whoever.
So do we then expand keepers? What's our keepers?
Yeah, so right now we have eight.
Are we ever looking to keep defenses?
I'm sorry?
Are we ever looking to keep defenses once we keep breaking it up?
I think eventually it will make sense, because the goal of the league was always to get to 10 keepers. So after two again, assuming there aren't more than 5 votes against it, right? So eventually I would say it probably does make sense to keep some defensive players because at that point, there's probably a handful of quarterbacks that you really want to think keeping, maybe 7 at max. You'll be 4 and 3 in wide receivers and running backs. So you can either keep 3 and 3 or 4 and 3, or I guess 5 and 3 at that. No, we'll say 4, and then you get tight end, quarterback, and then you probably be looking at defensive player. I think Matt and Geltz honestly would have a valid point of keeping their kickers. Apart from, like seriously, apart from them, I don't think anyone's keeping a kicker.
Yeah. No, I usually like to pick up mine late.
Yeah, so I think defensive players will become a keeper. I really do. And I love there's 2 Leos on the screen.
Oh, I'm taking over, man.
Those on the screen right now.
Yeah. Getting off the phone.
That's so great. So yeah, I think that defensively speaking for fantasy, we'll have 3 already going into the season. We can open that up to add a flex that just covers all 3 positions plus edge rusher if we want, or we can roll with 3 and expand later. I'm open to any discussions going into the offseason. I don't think I'm going to make it a dictatorship. I don't think I ever have.
Yeah, I mean,
I fear to not be a dictator.
I think if there was if you had put a poll up for it, that most people would probably want a defensive flex.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll put that. That'll be our next poll. So we've already had defensive line. Do we want to add a defensive flex going in? So that'll put 4 defensive players on the roster.
Yeah.
The only requirement that I will ask is for everyone in the league, hopefully you're all watching, please go and look at the defensive rules because I want everyone to page with that. If we're going to add more defensive players, rules become highly important because they can turn games. We're talking about 1.5 points for every 5 tackles plus a half point for every assisted tackle and a full point for every total tackle. I mean, that adds up quick. That's why linebackers can get 20 points a game, especially if an interception. Talking about 2.5 or 3.5 points there. Those things add up.
And that's how you don't feast on the phallus.
Yeah, Maryland's going to have fun with that one.
Some cockburn there.
Yeah, just for you, right there. Your pulse sank. Yep. Yeah, you lost.
I'll join in on that. Just because.
Naming his team is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. You get the pleasure.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm put up to a poll. I think I'm just going to go in and name it for him with my commissioner powers.
That's a breach, man.
Dictator.
That's the rule. That's not breaching it if that's the rule.
You should make him change it himself.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Make him type every single letter in himself.
Make him feel it. Make him feel it.
Feel the pain.
Yeah, I can do that. So in an honest moment, have y'all watched the other ones? The other podcasts that we've done?
Nah.
Nah.
Still don't know. Is this the link? This is obviously the link.
Yeah.
No, I've sent the YouTube channel out in the group chat. I just didn't know if anybody was watching it or not.
No.
Can't say that I have yet. I mean, I know I put it on my to-do list, but I haven't quite got there.
Damn it, Sprint.
It's not like we're quarantined or anything, but it's all right.
I mean, I'm still working, man. I'm still out there.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Always be closing, Chris. Always be closing.
Always be closing, man.
Right.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Water, but cheers.
So closing deals. Who are you shopping, Seth?
I'm sorry?
Who are you shopping? Where's your fantasy team sitting? Top of the league, looking down.
That top of the league.
How's it feel?
that it feels great first and foremost. Like it truly being my biggest fear year one, because I truly thought that there have been 2 years where I could have won and haven't won. Um, and my biggest fear was like, dude, what if I never win this league? Like, what if I am always like oh, he almost had it. He had a great team, but it didn't work out. Like I would hate that. I'm so competitive. So just getting that out of the way feels great. Even if I never win again, it feels great. But it wasn't by like a masterful team. You know, everybody hit late. And Aaron Jones won me the championship with a long run, like third quarter of that game. It was a good championship, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't over until the end of the game, and it was bittersweet because I knew that Josh was a massive Packers fan. So on one side he was stoked, and it was like, "Yo, Aaron Jones, you didn't have to do that to my fantasy squad." So I laughed.
Yeah.
And then it was a cherry on top when I realized I get to rename Maryland's team. So that was even better. Like it was celebration. He texted me congratulations. I reminded him of the rule, and that's when he went on that whole rant to the group. It was great. In terms of my team, though, I would say, in a moment of transparency, I'm probably pretty set on keeping like Odell. I really like Terry. I really like Miles Sanders. And then Carson Wentz, I'm probably keeping as well. In terms of Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, Kenyon Drake, like they could potentially all be on the table. I'm questioning Darren Waller. Yeah, that's kind of like.
All right.
I think that all of the other players on my team, like Matt Breida's in Miami, but I don't know if anybody like necessarily would keep Matt Breida or knows what his value is right now. So he might be a late.
Yeah, they got a few running backs down there.
Yeah, they have Jordan Howard and Matt Breida.
Mm-hmm.
I think that between those two, one of them will be valuable, but obviously who knows who. I really like Noah Fant. Brashad Perriman's with the Jets now. I think that's interesting. Really, I'm set on like those 4 people on keeping, and then everybody else is kind of on the trading block.
Nice.
I think it's a hard one this year. You know, I think that some of the teams made moves that like really excites me, but at the same time kind of makes me wonder what their offense is going to be. Like I still think the world of certain, like Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is one of the best, if not the best, route runner in the NFL. And they just got CeeDee Lamb, which on one hand says, dude, no more double covering Amari, right? Like no more bracketing Amari. He's going to feast. And then on the other hand, it's like, well, does that mean that targets go down for him or Gallup? But then you start asking the questions, right? Like, is now CeeDee Lamb just get the tight end role? So all those targets to the tight end and everything else stays the same. Those present themselves with D-Hop going to Arizona. Like, does he still get the same amount of targets? With Terry McLaurin when Dwayne Haskins, like what was Dwayne even do? Like, does he progress? Like Baker Mayfield, does he help his offense out this year? Is he going to have another slump?
Sure.
The only one I'm really stoked for is Miles Sanders. Like, I'm really stoked for Miles Sanders.
Yeah, some good off-season buzz around him. For sure.
And
For sure.
they didn't do anything.
He's a solid play. He didn't have too many touches last year, you know. So fairly fresh knees.
Decent offensive line always. And he's a super athlete, you know, in terms of them, he rated 1 point lower than Saquon coming out. So like he's a super athlete. And if he doesn't have much competition and gets the role to himself all year, I mean, I think he's an easy top 10 running back. So he's trying to position some top 10 to top. I look at my roster, and this is probably giving away too much strategy, but I look at my roster in terms of pieces, right? So like I always want like a high volume wide receiver, and I always want a big play wide receiver. Sometimes it comes one and the same, but if I can make sure I have those 2 pieces, then my third wide receiver can be whatever it is, right? Like it doesn't matter. If I have a high volume guy, like a Keenan Allen with Phillip Rivers, which is why I target him so much. he's getting his 7 to 10 targets a game, no matter what. Versus a high play, like big play guy in Odell, like he might get 6 targets, but one of them could be like a 70-yard bomb, or he takes it. My third wide receiver could be whoever. And then I always want like a running back and then a top 20 running back. Like wherever they fall, I feel like they're pretty equal. But if I keep a top 10 and I keep a top 20, then that's good. Tight ends, I could give less of a shit about. I like having a guy that gets like 4 targets a game. If I get 4 targets tied in a game, that's probably like 5 to 10 points. And then flex is whatever. Flex is whoever you need to blow up that week.
Is this the first podcast since the draft?
I'm sorry?
Is this the first podcast since the draft?
No, I don't.
No.
Think so. I don't think so.
I don't know. How long has it been? It's been in quarantine for so long. What day is it?
It might be. It probably is.
Yeah. I think you're going to have a lot of rookie impact on rosters, too. Even with production of veterans.
Yeah, I was talking to Geltz about this the other day. I think this is the first year where there's not a clear-cut number 1 pick for a dynasty league.
Yeah. Well, we're in the 8th round, 9th round.
Yeah, but my point is, like, look at the first round running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right, to the Chiefs. Super exciting. But they even came out and said, Damian Williams is our starter, and Clyde will compete. You can compare that with a Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis or a Cam Akers in Los Angeles. Like, I would say that they all have potential to blow up,
Yeah. I would agree with that.
It's just like last year there was Josh Jacobs, right? You knew Josh Jacobs was walking into the Oakland Raiders as the number 1 guy. The year before that, it was Saquon. Saquon's going to the Giants to be the guy. Like, he's going to have all the touches. What was the year before that? I feel like there was someone the year before that. That was Christian McCaffrey when everybody had, like, his blow up. I think 3 years ago, like, grab Christian McCaffrey.
He's still doing it.
Yeah, and then year before that, you're talking about like the Zekes and the Fournettes. Like, there was always a dude to pick in fantasy, and now it's kind of who do you like the most?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. None of those backs are like starters, but man, look at guys like I think quarterbacks is where you're gonna see some impact on vets. A lot of Chargers, young quarterback. AJ Green, young quarterback.
Joe Burrow. How do you feel about that? That's what I want to know. I want to get Shane out here and ask how he feels about Joe Burrow with AJ Green and everybody, and then getting T. Higgins.
Man, staying in Ohio, maybe it'll pay dividends. Still the Bengals.
I think the Bengals might beat the Browns, though.
Yeah, it's coin flip every year.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares because the Steelers will pummel all of them. Or the Ravens. Now the Ravens.
The Ravens are the king of that division again.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bills are the king of the AFC East.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, man. I'd have to agree with that.
I don't know what happened last year.
Hey, man, you got a completely different team this year. Completely different team.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's gonna be
Sony Michel's not doing Sony Michel things. You've got a running back last year. Oh, Sony Michel's yours, isn't he, Leo?
Yeah, he's on my roster still. We'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
What's
a
up?
deal for you.
We'll talk.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that team, man. I really am. I'm really excited to see what Bill Belichick does because it seems like he's playing for 21, not 20. I think he's in the Trevor Lawrence conversation, not because he finishes terrible, but because he finishes like mediocre and then trades up to get him.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the Trevor Lawrence, the talks about potentially getting him. I mean, I'm all for it, but I'd like to see, what Bill Belichick has up his sleeve right now with Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And what Billy O has in store for Brandon Cooks down there.
Yeah, I think that Billy O's got something in store for Billy B.
okay.
He's probably gonna trade Watson next year for like $10 and a pack of bubble gum or some shit.
Yep.
No, y'all are gonna set the market and pay
To
like
the
million.
Patriots too.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson is basically gonna walk on to the Patriots next offseason and become their quarterback.
I bet it happens. It's not crazy anymore when you think about it.
It's been a multi-year conspiracy.
Just helping the Pats win.
Texans are just a farm team for the Patriots.
Exactly.
It's basically what you're saying.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Trade up and draft our quarterback in 5 years. Don't worry.
Go Bucks.
Don't worry
Let's
about
go Bucks. I can finally start to root for my hometown team again.
At least there's hope there, right? Like that's the great thing about the offseason, if nothing else, is how many trades there have been. It's been such a shakeup.
His Lord and Savior Tom Brady's there, so yeah, I'd say that Tampa's in a good position.
Oh, that's
You
great.
got some wide receiver power. You got the power of Gronk. You got a good backfield. You don't have a bad defense.
That backfield's going to be interesting between Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, and that kid Keyshawn Vaughn they just drafted.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting little split because there's going to be some value there somewhere.
What about the Bruce Arians, Tom Brady dynamic? There you go. Quarterback whisperer and a quarterback.
Yeah, and they drafted Tyler Johnson, which I know Dylan's hot on the press for. I think he's from Minnesota. He played at Minnesota and was just a beast with his catch radius. And they're going to play him in the slot. So now we got like Tyler Johnson in the slot, and you have Godwin and Evans. Like Jesus, with and OJ Howard and Cameron Brate. Like,
Yeah, I'll trade up with you just to take that dude from Dylan. Name it. If he's going second round to Dylan, name it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, dude. You know I'm about trading.
I know.
I'm all about trying to work deals. Chris, you didn't make any trades this year, did you?
No, I don't think so. None that I can remember right now, at least.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Not,
offseason. Go ahead.
I was saying not during the season that I can think of.
Yeah, you were just shitty the whole year.
Yeah, pretty much. I had some chances at the end, but I blew it.
Yeah, last year was tough, man. It was. I mean, I was on a hot streak at the beginning, and then almost didn't make the playoffs. You know, so it was a weird year, and then midseason trades and everything, and then this upcoming season, just to remind both of you again, the divisions change. So I go over the last 4 years of records essentially, and the lowest two teams swap
You
division.
put yourself in with the lowest two teams.
See, that's the debate now. Like, does the winner,
Uh,
does the winner move? Like, I think that
Fair.
last year overall would take me down in total wins or like total record, but I still don't think that I'm in the bottom two. And I would challenge Geltz or Corbin there because they're our historians. I'd love for them to let me know rather than me have to look at it, but I'll probably have to look at it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, if I'm in there, I think that it's fair to say I should switch divisions. But at the same time, I know that if somebody else won the title and they said, "Yo, dude, I don't deserve to switch just over the last 4, like I just won." I feel like there should be some immunity there. It's whatever.
Winner immunity.
Yeah, I would say so after winning.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep you posted. Obviously, I'll send out a text, or maybe I'll have more of these every week and try and get the next 2 people on because I still need Josh. I still need Dylan. I still need Matt to hop on, which but yeah, I'll keep everybody posted. 2 people, the division is changing, so it'll be a big deal. Changing up competition.
Yeah, no, it'd be huge. it's definitely been slated too. Like there's been, you know, one division that has completely outperformed the other for a while. I can't remember which one that is. Is that the Hillbillies?
Yep, that's my division.
Yep.
Yeah, it has been that way, hasn't it?
Yeah, because Leo, you won last year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Dylan won.
Yeah. Dylan won last year, yeah. And the year before I won. He won the first year.
Because
He's the
when
first year in the dynasty. Then
yeah,
me.
because when you
Then
won
him and
one of the
you,
years,
yeah.
I thought I could win, but then you had DeAndre Hopkins trade from Corbin, and you crushed me by like a point in the playoffs, and I was furious.
Defensive players.
That's what it was. It was your linebacker. He
Yeah.
won it, and I was mad. I remember that.
Oh, man.
What year are we on now? Is this year 5?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, this will be dynasty year 5.
yeah, 5.
So what are we talking for the draft? Has draft come up?
I set a time and a day in September only to make sure that we could trade draft picks and have all the full options of the league. It's not anything set in stone, but it is set for right now. It's Sunday, September 6th at 7 p.m. So we'll see. Our schedules around then, we'll definitely plan it. But as of now, I'm rolling with the system. I don't know if we want to go live draft or not. I think that can get a little crazy, especially depending on the medium we do it through, or if we try and make it in person. But right now, the system I think is a pretty good setup, and all the trades will be able to go through, and it'll
Right
keep.
on.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. Starting in the 9th round, the first pick is.
But there'll be a lot of talent out there too, because
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
But it won't be a normal draft, especially with people that have already traded. Like you've given up your first round pick this year, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm out of the first round right now.
And Geltz gave up his second, I believe, and first next year.
So Geltz is looking to get back into the second. Ooh, and first next year. Wow. So he's drafting way late.
Yeah, Geltz will be willing and dealing some trades. I think it'll be fun to see the offseason because I'm willing and doing some trade or trying. Like, hell,
Yeah. It's always fun when Geltz hits me up for trades.
yeah. I mean, I enjoy talking it, but my favorite question is like, hey, what's your value on this guy? It's like, I'm going to tell you my value on this guy. You come back with whatever you want.
Secret.
To everybody. I'm sorry?
Secret.
The secret value?
Yeah.
That's your strategy? No, Lee's strategy is silence. He negotiates with silence.
Yeah, man, you like totally negotiated for yourself. Yeah, for me.
Don't talk, and
All
I'm
the silence.
Oh.
Fair.
All right, we're back.
Got cut off there.
Yeah, I was just saying that you don't even trade, but that was a proper time to cut off, huh?
I guess so. Yeah. I'm
Well-
not good at trades, but this year I'm definitely gonna be making a lot more.
Sometimes you got to, man. That's the only
My team is replaceable.
yeah, it's the only way to really reshape a roster. I'll let you have the floor, man, to really let you speak to the league, assuming anybody is watching. On your team, I don't know if you have it pulled up. I'll pull it up for you if you need me to.
I can grab my team. Yeah, hold on.
Who is on your trading block? I think that's important for people to know, right?
So I'd say on my team right now, on the trading block. I mean, honestly, Le'Veon Bell is probably on there for sure. Chris Carson is definitely on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, in reality, my thing is that I don't really have that many other players that are of any value to discuss trading. in my eyes. Like,
I don't know if people would agree with that. I wouldn't sell yourself short. I mean, you named Le'Veon and Chris Carson, but you also have Devonta Adams, Julian Edelman, and Devonta Parker. I wouldn't say they all have massive value, but I would look at
yeah,
Adams as a top 10 wide receiver. I would look at Devonta Parker as a top 20 wide receiver, 24 wide receiver. Yeah, you've also got Dak Prescott, and assuming that he stays on Dallas, I mean, they're the highest passing offense in the league last year. So,
oh yeah, no, I mean Dak. I didn't even really consider Dak as part of that. But yeah, I mean we'll see. I mean, pretty much like I said, right now most players are available because I'm looking to kind of make a shift on my team. I'm
and
trying.
what's your pick? Do you know what your pick is?
No idea.
Oh, he's back. Let me see what your pick is.
How do you find?
Draft pick trading doesn't look like is available right now, but I can make sure that I ask about that. If you go to standings of last year, you'll be able to find the current draft order, like overall standings. That's at least how I usually go. Like standings, 2019 instead of the 2020 year. You can click on final standings, and that will tell you. I'll tell you who's picking where.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't see him from last season on my phone. Are you
So
talking about?
you're picking 6.
Okay.
5. Sorry, you're picking 5.
Pick 'em 5. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's not looking that good, but
Well, my point is you got value. You can that 5th round, that 5 overall might carry some value too if you're willing to trade.
yeah, very well could.
I'd take 5th overall. Just saying.
Well,
What
Leo's
do you-
not.
Yeah.
I'd take 10th overall.
Well, I mean, what is your pick?
Leo's pick was. Yeah, Leo's pick was 2.
Yeah, I'll be the 19th or 20th pick in the draft.
Yeah, but you traded your first, but you're getting Dylan second, right?
Do I get Dylan second? That's awesome.
Yeah, I think you got Dylan second, and that would
So I got 2 in the second. Sweet.
you have the. If you got his second, that means you have 1, 2, 3rd overall in the second round.
It's a bit better than I recall, so I'll take it.
I believe that was y'all's trade. I'd have to go back and look, but for what I remember, it was your first for his second, and then Calvin Ridley and Emmanuel Sanders was swapped as well. But Chris,
Yeah.
you got 5 overall, so I would say that you're not terrible. You got some pieces and 5 overall. If you're trying to trade with somebody, you're in the middle of every round, so that has some value. You know?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I like to make some choices on, making actually, I should say some good draft choices in the first couple rounds and seeing what I can put together on my own. But like I said, I'm not opposed to, opening up to potential trades, and pretty much almost everybody on my roster is on the chopping block if the right price is out there for them. So,
It's fair.
like I said, complete overhaul is what I'm going for this year.
Make a deal, Chris.
Let's make a deal, Leo. Let's make it
Make a
happen.
deal.
Yeah, I'll look through your team, man. I'll send you some offers. I'll be candid with you. I've sent Leo some offers too. So,
Yeah.
Leo is one of I owe Shane a conversation, and Corbin's talked a little bit about it. But I'll look through your roster. You might have somebody I want.
You'll check yourself.
Alpha over here, being alpha. What's up?
Alpha.
In the can.
What up, Alpha?
What you doing, buddy?
Leo, you're still good with being the treasurer of the league?
Yeah, we good.
Awesome. Well, if anybody's watching this, pay Leo, not me. Please remember that.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all current. We gotta get this trophy moved. Dylan knows that. Where are you gonna put it, Seth? It's pretty large.
And I've got space for it. I need to. Some trophy shop is up here. And
Yeah, we now have
edit
4
that.
5 to put on it.
Trophy is the trophy made?
Yeah, trophy's made. Trophy needs plaques. Finding 4 plaques.
So I was gonna say, yeah, it needs 4 plaques from all the previous winners.
Yeah. Previous winners. Actually, I need 5 previous winners plus name tag. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see that because I remember you showing me the first photo, but it's like what, a 3-layered. Fuck, you killed that. A layered trophy, right?
yeah, it's large. It might be the biggest off-season move yet. So, yes.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll get that taken care of, and then we got to get the shirt to Maryland. Because Maryland has to take that photo and send it to us.
Yeah, let me bill the bank. Send the invoice.
Yeah, yeah, I got to get with Josh about that. Hopefully, he still has that shirt.
What was the shirt again?
It was a message that he sent. He sent it to us in a message, but basically it says, "I suck," and then dicks really big. But in the middle it says, "I suck at fantasy football, and my friends are all dicks." So it says,
Nice.
yeah, it basically it's funny in 2 ways. But it's a pink shirt with white lettering, and it says, "I suck dicks," and I think it's an extra large, so it's probably gonna be like a dress on Old Mary.
You gotta accommodate to the league's largest members.
Yeah.
I think Josh might be the meatiest.
And he was the first that had to wear it, so I was charged.
Born in.
Rolling.
Born in.
Yeah, he's made a turnaround though. Talk about a league story. If there was ever a 30 for 30 written on this league, it would be about that team and how he's turned it around.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a feat.
Absolutely. The cursed team.
Which is weird because the cursed team had like Julio Jones and like pieces that were good.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
Cursed team was never a bad team. It was just cursed.
truly cursed. Yeah.
It was just, the person at the helm of it was just never really prepared for it. For that team. That was it an auto drafted team for the
Typically it was auto drafted. There was no spirit put into the team.
Well, you could say there was the spirit of the auto draft.
Yeah, that's it right there. Spirit of the
Spirit of Walt Disney via ESPN.
Yep.
Yeah, it went from Scott to Alec, Josh, which fortunately no one else was there, right? It was Scott.
Scott
it.
and Alec and Josh.
Yeah, that's right. So
The lineage.
no. Yeah. Man, dude, that team's been through a roller coaster. That team is such a roller coaster. And I mean, honestly, like most teams have outside of I guess Dylan, and Dylan went through. No, he did. He went through that season where he almost like quit setting his roster, and then he went on to win the league. He was so terrible that year, and then he was like, I'm on a winning streak," and he goes on to win the league.
Sometimes all it takes.
That's what happens, man. It's whoever's hot towards the end of the season. If you can get momentum going, as crazy as it sounds, because it's fantasy football and anything can happen, but if you can get momentum going, somehow the fantasy gods just fucking have your back.
But I do think there's a strategy to it, though. I mean,
There's definitely a huge strategy to it too, but there's also a component of just having the right components, just to make things happen. And
Yeah.
Call me a dreamer, Chris.
What?
Call me a dreamer, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, if teams are clicking and players are performing, then if you have those players on your fantasy team, then you're gonna perform better. And that's just what happens is that the momentum that actual teams and actual players get in, in real life football translates to fantasy points.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a true 35% of it comes down to like real evaluation and real skill. Or 35% of it comes down to that.
I would say it's 45.
See, I would say more of it.
40
I,
maybe.
I think like 35 would be as high as I go because the other 65%, like you said, is kind of luck. Like, were there injuries to the defense that made the offense have to get on the field more halfway through the season? Okay, so now you got a wide receiver on a team that has to throw a lot. Like that's luck. Did Devonta Adams get hurt mid-year and miss 7 games? Yeah, I mean that's bad luck. Like evaluate 35% and be the best evaluator, but there's a big aspect of luck. And obviously you cover your ass with depth, but you can't really replace certain players.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, every year, everyone goes through it at some point, a period of the season where, they just are plagued by injuries. So it's just a matter of adjusting and having those backup players to fit those spots.
Yeah. Your player belief has to be there too. Like taking the shot on somebody early because you believe on him and having that hit, it's like there's not a better feeling. I'm sure Leo felt like that with DJ Chark and DK Metcalf. Like, or
Yeah.
you took them all fairly early and they all hit. Like what a feeling.
Right. All 4 of them. Chark, Metcalf, Samuel, Brown, all had great second halves.
Yeah. And it's like
Now you're getting your shot.
now how do you make the decision going forward? Like what is what is the levels there?
Keep them all and fuck tight ends.
Geltz just cried.
Right, because he's on. Yeah.
2 tight ends for life, man, and he's made it work for the most part.
Oh man. Hey, I won the league with 2 tight ends.
Yeah,
Ertz and Kelsey. That was that year.
that was.
No. Ertz and Gronk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Geltz is Ertz and Kelsey now.
And that's a good setup to have, too. Like, if you're going to have 2 tight ends, you better have those 2 or a mix between Kittle and –
Might as well have 2 wide receivers, right?
Yeah. Like, that really is a good setup. I don't want to knock it because he's done it right, but he's also had to place high value on tight ends. Like, he's had to take them over a running back in certain circumstances, which that's just different strategy. So
Big man.
With you and 4 wide receivers, 5 wide receivers, including D-Hop, like that's tough. And like with me and my running backs, it's kind of tough. Like,
You do have a league of running backs.
it's a lot. Like Chris and his whole team, it's tough.
Yeah. The opposite of Chris's running back situation.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, do either of y'all have any random thoughts to close this out, or any type of revelations? Anything you want to say to the league before
On the
Leo?
wrong play.
Before Leo dies over there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's going to be interesting this year. Obviously, it would have been nice for us to do a destination draft and meet up. I mean, I'd like to hope that that's a possibility still.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's going to be another good year. So it's anybody's ball game.
I think that there are certain favorites heading into next year, but there's always the Niners in every fantasy thing. So I agree with you on that stuff, and we should look at it in a live draft. We could make that work somehow, right? If things are relatively open, maybe. I guess it depends on where we have it and if people are willing to drive, because you might have to drive.
Right. We'll get logistics working on it.
Yeah.
We'll have to pick a central point, maybe somewhere in like West Virginia or something.
don't know. Y'all seen that documentary, Wild and Wonderful? Ooh, I'm not going to West Virginia, man.
I think we all watched that together in college. So yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah, apparently it's back on Netflix again.
Wow. Yeah, we'll have to get Sofa involved in that. Dylan, our Secretary of Fantasy Affairs.
Yeah.
We need to get him involved in the discussion. What about you, Leo? Any closing thoughts?
And here's to Tom Brady. Go Bucks.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I enjoyed talking to y'all. Hopefully people watch this one. And I will put the defensive flex poll up because that's what we talked about. So be on the lookout for that. I'll shoot a group text out. Thank you all for joining it, and I'm about to end it.
Thanks for having us.